r/AskReddit. What's the worst thing you did as a horny teen? Lived way out in the countryside far from any neighbors or most people. Spent most summers without seeing anyone from school. Well, over time I made a sex doll out of old pillows, electrical tape, and pilfered girls' clothes I'd grabbed when I was at a friend's house. I got the idea after watching an episode of Real Sex about them. I had a small hatch inside my bedroom closet that led to the attic. It was far enough away from the main pull-down steps that I felt confident no one would find it. I'd lock my door and blast rock music pretending that I was emo and had anger issues, but I'd really just be fucking it. This became my surrogate for whatever girl I was crushing on, but was too afraid to ever speak to from 6th grade until senior year high school. At the beginning of senior year, a hurricane caused my bedroom ceiling to collapse into the attic, and even though it wasn't near the sex doll, I was still freaking out. So when my family went on a supply run during the aftermath, I made an excuse to stay, and I pulled out. I guess at that time I was probably calling her Veronica. Carried her deep into the woods near my house to a fire pit we'd camp near. Fucked her one last time and burned her. Edit. Oh god, I just glanced at this and saw it begins with describing how isolated I was growing up and ends with fucked her one last time and burned her. Shagged my then ex-girlfriend in the woods. She choked me with a belt because she thought it would be fun, and I passed out and fell against a tree. I woke up to her crying and thinking I was dead. Good times. Better than waking up to the sound of her digging a hole with a shovel. He didn't say she wasn't shoveling. Sucked on a mannequin's tit in Target and got caught by security. Oh god, that's embarrassing. I bet that security guard has a great party story now though. I was in a hotel room alone in Las Vegas while my dad was in a business meeting. I jerked off to a steak or some sort of piece of meat in a magazine because it kind of looked like a vagina. A piece of meat is not just a woman, you know. Got my internet girlfriend's address. Came in a small glass bottle, sealed it with wax, and packaged it up. Went to the post office to ask an employee about shipping something with dry ice in it. When she asked what I was shipping, it suddenly struck me that the whole thing might be a little weird, so I excused myself and threw the bottle away. What were you hoping to have happen exactly? Overy Night Express. When I was 14, I cut a hole in my beanbag chair and humped it for about 15 minutes before my dad knocked on the door. He walked in to see me rush under the covers with my beanbag chair and a shit ton of those white styrofoam balls all over my bed. That was very hard to explain. It's not what you think, we are in love. You can't handle our relationship. I bet your dad laughed his ass off telling this story to his friends. I tied myself up in the woods with a rope attached to my cock and liked to struggle against my bonds until I came. On this particular day my mother realized I was missing and came looking for me. She found me struggling in the bushes with my dick tied to a tree and had a panic attack. I panicked and blamed it on a friend playing around. To this day she says she still has nightmares about it. I learned in 5th grade, so I was 9, not a teen, that I could climb a pole and it would cause me to orgasm. So every day at recess I was out in the schoolyard climbing rusty old poles. My mother would complain to me because I would come home from school every day with a rust streak all up and down the front of my clothes. One day I was just about at the top of the pole when the bell rang. I figured I had just enough time to finish climbing to the top when it happened. Wave after wave of awesome prepubescent orgasm washed over me. My teacher, a real bitch, was standing at the door yelling at me to hurry into class. I decided right then and there that I didn't care what she said. There was no way I was climbing down until my orgasm had finished. That was the very first time in my young life that I blatantly disobeyed an adult. I was really proud of that. Fell asleep after jacking it, dick still in hand. Parents walk in, get woken up by screaming. Mom screaming like the world is coming to an end. Dad just like wash your hands before dinner. This might have happened to me a few times without me knowing it. I've had insomnia for years and sometimes fall asleep at random times from exhaustion. I'll fall asleep standing up, eating, or, well, fapping. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty fucking sure it has happened. Fuck. Have you been tested for narcolepsy? He hasn't answered because he fell asleep mid-sentence and banged his head on his desk. I pumped soap in my dick hole, cause I wanted to ejaculate bubbles. Ejaculating was still the same, but pissing felt like hot lava for the next hour after that. Edit, no bubbles. I waited until my parents went to choir practice, and then I grabbed one of my t-shirts. I slathered the t-shirt with Vaseline, and stuffed it between my couch cushions. Then I got one of my secret nudie mags, opened it to a nice page, and laid it out on the couch. I proceeded to drop my drawers, get down on my knees, and doggy style the fuck out of my couch. I pumped my shirt full of my 13-year-old seed, and got cleaned up, before they came home. It sounds bad, but there's nothing more natural than the love between a young man and a piece of upholstery. Why would they build so much furniture with kneeling dick height crevices, if they didn't want you to stick your dick in it? Edit good old Reddit, where one comment about making love to your lover seed can quadruple your comment karma. Jacked it in the back of our van on long trips multiple times. Jacked it under the covers in a hotel room with my parents walking around in the same hotel room. Jacked it in a hot tub at a hotel. I do not get off on doing it in public, I just like jacking it. I imagine your parents getting used to it, and starting to make wagers on how long it would be till your next public wanking. I imagine his parents making wagers on how long it would take him to finish. Dad, have faith in him, he can last at least another 2 minutes. Mom, he's getting dangerously close. I'd give it a total time of 37 seconds. I was into this guy who was a drummer, so when he left one of his drumsticks at a party, I stole it, and masturbated with it. Then gave it back. Edit, to answer some questions, I'm a girl, I didn't get splinters, and I washed it off, before I gave it back. Did you ever tell him? I feel like I would have wanted to know, if I was him. Edit, and now my top rated comment is about Jotunkind masturbating with a stolen drumstick. Hey, does this stick smell funny to you? Smells like fish sticks. Switched to the female character in Temple Run, and jacked off to her grunts. I have no shame. If you can play Temple Run, why didn't you just look up some porn? No internet. After a long contemplation on the bus home from school, I struggled with why there are so many things girls can use to masturbate with in everyday normal life, and how there's nothing for a boy to stick his dick into. I went home and carved a dick-shaped hole into a potato and lubed it up with Pert Plus, my dad's shampoo. I tried fucking it but it didn't work. I wiped off the shampoo, but didn't rinse it. The next day at school my dick was cracked and bleeding all over. That was the last time I fucked a potato. I've always been more of a reader of erotica than a watcher of porn. One day, in Barnes & Noble, I found a book which contained element of my fetish. I read it in the middle of the aisle, until I came in my pants right in the middle of the store. How does this even happen? You must have been really horny, damn. I found that erotica can do much more to people than porn can, especially when porn is the same stuff over and over again. It also is more sensual than just watching someone get railed by some guy with a monster silicock. In other words, the book is better than the movie. My girlfriend and I were enjoying a mid-afternoon bash, and we looked up to see my dad watching us through the window. Who finished first, you or your dad? The girlfriend who had been secretly looking at the dad. Fucking savage. They came together. Probably just the standard shit. The things I did to every one of my female friends and most of my sister's friends in the garden of my mind were pretty awful. I once masturbated 8 times over the course of a day. Dry. My dick felt like it got skinned for ages. Funny enough, except for a few moments, I was entirely oblivious to the advances of girls. I once went clothes shopping with a girl when I was 17. I was getting some shirts, and she went with me into the dressing room. I didn't react to this at all. I start taking my shirt off, and she says, you know, people probably think we are doing something bad in here. I go, you think so? And continue trying on clothes. She was an attractive girl. I was interested. I sometimes masturbate to the alternate universe where I'm not retarded. Alternate universe me seals the deal a lot. I masturbated with a faulty back massager that I had to connect split wires at the base to make it work. I think the dog chewed it. Anyway, each time I touched the split wires, I could see it shock, and I had to hold the wires together the entire time, or it would turn off. Not a easy thing to do, and definitely not the safest. I even remember getting slightly shocked in my nether regions. I always imagined being killed by the stupid device and being found by my parents dead from sklicking. Never stopped me though. It was an amazing vibrator. Why didn't you just tape it? Edit. By tape it I mean tape the cord so you didn't have to hold the split ends in place. It was at the very base of the massager. I guess the idea of taping it freaked me out, like it would melt the tape. Didn't really think of that back then. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more edit videos. Click on the bell to get notified when we post more new content.